Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest Anfield Index Under Pressure podcast. My name's Dan Kennett, and with me to go through Manchester City 3, Liverpool 0. We don't have Mr. Simon Brundish. He is away again. This time he is in Las Vegas. He is working, allegedly. I think he might have some kind of gig with some kind of racing team, like as a cars, not people, which is it's all very random. But anyway, job's a job. So good luck, Si. I'm sorry you couldn't make it. We tried to coordinate, but just couldn't make it work. But we do have the other two members of the team. We do have Dr. Phil Barter. Evening, Phil.
How are we doing, boys? We good? Apart from obviously losing the City, but aside from that,
Well, it's been absolutely pissing down for about 5 days straight in the UK, so it's good for you, mate. Being over there.
Yeah, for sure.
And we do have the boy wonder, broadcasting not from the Times Towers again, but from his own house, or his parents' house. It's Mr. Hamza Khalek-Lunat, sports data journalist of the year. Evening, Hamza.
Evening. No, I'm back at home. I'm in London now, so no sort of nice map on the wall from my parents' house this time, sadly.
Anyway, we had some feedback last week on the sound quality. Just a bit of housekeeping before we start. Done a load of work to try and figure out what's going on, and hopefully this will be a lot better. We had no interruptions so far, so fingers crossed on that front. So please do let us know how the sound was. If you tag us either in Discord or on socials and let us know. Anyway, unfortunately, Hamza, we have to talk about Manchester City 3, Liverpool 0. This was a really chastening defeat. I think probably fair to say killed off any residual hopes amongst some people about whether Liverpool are in a title race or not. I think some of us thought it. To be honest, I remember after the Arsenal, after the previous pods, you were quite optimistic at the end of the pod about catching Arsenal and mentioned that. I have to say I wasn't ever really that. I didn't share your optimism there. I have to say, I thought it was over after the Brentford game. I didn't. You think we just mainly because we're not playing well enough to string any kind of run together. But I think it's fair to say it is. The title challenge is now over, Hamza.
We'll see. There's a lot of
it's a long season.
Yeah, it's a long season. As we've discussed before, there's a lot of injuries can play a big role. Fixtures will obviously play a big role as well. Our injuries, our fitness, our fixtures, opposition fitness, injuries, all that sort of stuff. Rubber the green as well. I think in some respects Liverpool have been a bit unlucky, and sometimes you can be unlucky over a season. Sometimes it's just for period. More often than not, it's just periods. I think Liverpool have been underperforming at both ends, which has exacerbated existing weaknesses. So whilst there are some issues, bad finishing and a bit of unluckiness with opponents finishing quite well or with deflections or whatever in this match means that it looks a bit worse than it is. But I think the underlying isn't awful. It's okay, but obviously okay isn't going to win your league. But whether it can move in defensive sense at least, but whether you can move from okay to decent or acceptable or half good, and then tweak the attacking a bit more so it's actually good again rather than just decent as it is at the moment, then I think you're in a much better place. But we'll see how it progresses.
Bart, same to you, mate. How do you feel about the overall title challenge and title defence?
I think I could get Hamza's optimism at the end of the last pod, but I think I was more with you pretty much after Chelsea, if I'm being honest with you. I just thought our inability to not concede the first goal or stop conceding late sloppy equalisers, I just thought it's never a good sign for anyone who can defend the title. And I have to be honest, I don't think our numbers have been anywhere near good enough all season. So for me, I think we've got a good chance maybe in the Champions League. It seems to be we can get up for, we could put together a performance, Madrid, a performance. So maybe we can do something in the Champions League where we just need to do a performance once a week. But for the league, unfortunately, I think that ship has sailed. Even within Arsenal, just look like they're just going to carry on only conceding. Was it 3 goals now? They conceded 4 goals. in 11 games.
Yeah.
We can call them boring, whatever you want, but the
Well, it's
defense
at the moment it's effective, that's for sure. With whatever Arsenal are doing, but to be honest, I don't even want to talk about Arsenal. We just want to focus about us. On the Champions League, 4 games, okay, but there is some pretty good underlying data in those 4 games in the Champions League stuff. So maybe we'll do that in the international break and look at that side of things. But we do have to refocus on this match. Hamza, we don't have sight. So the Liverpool 11 is a pretty quick one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the Real Madrid team. And to be honest, I quite like the idea of that. I think many people would have expected Gakpo to come back in for a few reasons. First of all, for rotation. Second of all, because Slot demonstrably likes him, and he gives you quite a lot of good defensive work from the left side, and he gets some shots off as well. So he might be good at supporting in attacks and quite clean on the counter attack. But I think, trying to put yourself in the shoes of Slot before the match, you're thinking about, first of all, maintaining a good performance, a good defensive performance against Villa without an attacking side, and then a good all-round performance against Real Madrid. So you're looking to have some sort of stability, similar sort of system. You're thinking about, as always with Manchester City, controlling the midfield, perhaps looking to overload there. And in that sense, you go, okay, perfect. Like, Vert's on the left, get him moving in field, you're going to create that box again, the parallelogram we spoke about. So on paper, I think it makes total sense. And if you try and put yourselves back in the shoes of Slot before the match, again, it makes sense. I like the lineup. I wouldn't have changed it, to be honest. And I think probably I would still feel the same 11, even knowing what we do know about the match. I think what made it a bit different, and the key tactical battle, I think, was the way that City set
going to Man City's 11. Well,
okay. So they played with back four of Mateus Nunes, Ruben Dias, Vardy at centre back, and then Nico O'Reilly. Nico O'Reilly played a bit last season. He's quite tall. He's quite quick. He's similar to Rico Lewis, but he's just bigger and stronger and faster. So that's why he's taken his position in the team. He also came through as a number 10 as well through the City Academy, but they're pretty multifunctional players nowadays, and he's like, you got the physical abilities. So that's the back four. They were interestingly used in a sort of the team was sort of using a semi-Kloppian way, and I say that meaning that the fullbacks did the dynamic stuff on the wing, right? They were high and wide. They offered the width. Mm-hmm. They allowed the forwards to play, and when I say forwards, I mean left wing and right wing, to play as inside forwards. And actually, more than that, they were super narrow. You had Doku just in midfield and Cherki just in midfield. So those guys were playing ahead of Gonzalo and Bernardo Silva, Nico Gonzalez and Bernardo Silva. Silva had a very free role. You'd often see him dropping deep into build-up, create the back three. So when Guardiola and Diaz would split, he would move there, just to try and problematize Liverpool's press, give them a bit more sort of resilience. And then when they were pressing, you'd see him go all the way up top with Haaland. So yeah, so you had Gonzalez as the pivot, but supported very heavily by Silva, then Doku, Foden, and Cherki, and then Haaland up top. And what they were trying to do was to use that front five in a really, really narrow midfield configuration to give them an additional player in midfield. So Liverpool had a box of 4. These had a pentagon of 5, although it's not strictly a pentagon because you had whatever. But yeah, so Foden, Doku, Cherki. Foden, Cherki, and Silva in particular were very fluid at dropping in and supporting. So let's say in build-up, Silva dropped deep. You've still got Nico Gonzalez ahead of him, and then you've got Foden and Cherki dropping in straight away. So instead of just building with 3 and a single pivot, you've got 3 and 3. And then you've got Doku nearby as well. And then if they're drawing Liverpool through the middle or closer to them, they've still got those options out wide, which they're looking to hit. So I thought that was very smart. They used a similar tactic recently against Bournemouth, but you're never sure if you're doing opposition scouting about exactly how Manchester City are going to play. There are some themes that are always the same, but in terms of the specific midfield configuration, I mean, like, who would expect a midfield group of 1, 2, 3, 4 players shorter than 5'9", right? I think Silva, Cherki, Foden, Doku. You probably wouldn't expect that in a big match. And then you've got Mateus Nunes at right back as well. He's not as short, but yeah, I thought that selection was really interesting. I think that gave City the ability to control midfield, and from there they controlled the majority of the match. And that was the key theme that stood out for me, I think. Interestingly, though, almost all season long, City have played to Haaland in a way that has been almost disproportionately large. So usually they do play to him. But around half of their shots for a while, but were all taken by Haaland. That's dropped off a bit now, but it's still an extraordinarily high number of shots, goals, XG that he's contributing. They're playing to him, through him. They want to use him more. They want to be more direct. They want to have through balls from Foden and Shirky into him. The only issue is that in this match, I think it was his lowest open play XG this season. So Liverpool sort of clamped down on him despite him scoring. They just didn't have control of midfield, though. That's where City were really superior.
So we've lost Dr. Bartz, so we're going to have to continue asking you more questions, Hamza. So the Phil Foden in almost a double pivot. I have to say, I haven't seen much of Man City recently, so that was a real surprise to me when I saw that play. Can you just talk to us more about how the game plan in City was clear? It was to get the ball early to Jeremy Doku, and then Jeremy Doku to do what Jeremy Doku does, and he is an extremely dangerous player. He's almost I would argue, Hamza, he's one of the few players in the Premier League who is borderline unplayable when they are actually having a good game. And there was one point where he beat two of our defenders in the same dribble, which was quite spectacular. But talk to us about how City got the ball to Jeremy Doku and created those situations, because that's the I guess one of the beautiful things about the stats back from Dr. Bartz, who's having a few internet problems and hopefully will be back with us shortly, is you can see the combinations between each of the players. And the main supplier of Phil Foden was Nico Gonzalez with 12 passes to him. If you would have said to us how are Man City going to get the ball to Jeremy Doku pre-match, I wouldn't have had the money on Nico Gonzalez. So do you want to talk to us about how City managed to create those situations for him, and which was they didn't go long in this game. They just got it to Doku, and then they played from Doku, didn't they? So.
Yeah, so this comes from what I just mentioned earlier in the way that they built up and they had the additional man in midfield. So they were looking to draw Liverpool forward. Liverpool, again, so you have what Manchester City is trying to do and Liverpool are trying to at the same time. And these are related things, right? So Liverpool still attempted to do something similar to what they did against Real Madrid. When I say that, I mean they would press high. And if they were bypassed quickly, they try and drop into the low block shape. They didn't want to be caught in a mid block, because for Haaland in particular, that's where he's really, really effective, because he is rarely ever caught offside. And if you've got someone like Foden or Shirky in particular who's really adept at playing passes in behind, you're asking for trouble, even if you've got good one-on-one defenders and players who can cut passes out and sweep the keeper. So Liverpool were trying to do that. So when they'd press high, they'd jump, they go man-to-man, and I mean, with the first goal, you see a really great display of technical skill under pressure in their own corner, drawing Liverpool to one side, playing through that pressure, then releasing, going on the opposite side. And they're doing this quite a bit. And what they were looking to do was take the ball centrally, make Liverpool match up. Liverpool would also prioritise that as well. So, like, for example, Andy Robertson and Conor Bradley would not go out wide to their fullbacks because they're out wide. And you don't need to prioritise that when the ball's in the centre. And in fact, what you want to do is have a rest defence that's well set up to prevent attacks through the middle. So you're prioritising. But City knew this and they said, okay, we're going to play through the middle. We'll draw you to slightly to one side and then attack the other. And then use those high and wide fullbacks to progress the ball and then get it into the wingers as well. But yeah, when they were sort of drawing Liverpool onto them, they were using Gonzalez to combine with Foden alongside him. And that would draw out Gravenberch and Szoboszlai, making them just a little bit further apart from Doku. And then Doku, when they passed into him, had a little bit of space to run into. He had to sort of not full transitions, but semi-transitional sort of structures, and that's where he was really able to shine. I just I think I remember talking about Doku maybe last season or the season before, and he had loads of dribbles. It might have been last season.
Yeah.
And I think we sort of went, that's an amazing volume of dribbles, but he's not really done anything with it.
Wilfred Zaha was the last player who really did this in the Premier League. Yeah.
And it was a really strange thing because and that has sort of been the characterization of Doku's career in the Premier League, because you go, this guy's amazing. He beats his players one-on-one. He runs into the box. He gets the ball in the box, making passes in the box, can cut back. And you think, well, why doesn't he have like 15 assists if he's playing with Haaland? Why is the production just not been there? And for a long time, it was final ball and decision making. That's improved a bit. But in this game, I've just not seen him play this well before ever. The context helped, obviously, like I said. So when Liverpool pressed high, the space to run into, and City were quite adept at creating some of those situations. It's not like they had, let's say, 4 or 5 breaks into the box. So I still think that those are sort of managed well, but as in they were able to pull Szoboszlai and Gravenberch out a bit, just to give Doku the freedom to have a sort of running or jogging or start into space and then sort of get rolling and running at Bradley. So yeah, he was supported quite nicely by O'Reilly as well, who had the width and allowed him to go inside. And it's something that you don't ever really see dribblers on the inside. Wirtz does it, but that makes him a bit of an exception. Shirky does it, that makes him a bit of an exception. But most teams generally look to dribble up the wings because it's a bit riskier in terms of you might lose a ball. So then in terms of if you lose a ball there, then where would you like to be counter-attacked, right? And it's usually on the wing, because that's further away from goal. If you're counter-attacked in the middle, that's a bit more risky. So you usually try and put your wingers out wide. But I think the dribble generally is quite an underrated sort of element within football. Teams should be using it more, especially in man-to-man setups, because we've talked about the domino effect that it creates. But yeah, I think that sort of covers a bit of it.
Yeah, I think. Did you know what I'm just showing the Past City network on the screen? Do you know what that network reminds me of? It reminds me of us last season with Mo Salah. With that ball where he was so far advanced, and he's the outlet ball and the network. Everything's going to him. All the threat is going to him, and then we play from him, and then you bring the others into play afterwards. Because look, no connections to Haaland at all. Cherki is, nothing forward of Cherki at all. He's not that far past the centre circle. Yeah, and then of all the things that you think Foden would be doing, then nothing is really inside the Liverpool half. It's all inside his own half. So it was just a very effective game plan. And